And now for the awkward silence while the stream is coming on. What is going on today? Myself, Nick Nimmin, and my brother D. Nimmin, we are going to share with you our top 10 tips for new YouTubers. So if that is you, then definitely give us a hashtag new in the comments right now. If you're new, if you're old and you've been, I don't mean old by age, but if you've been on YouTube for a while.
Dusty like me.
Yeah, kind of old and dusty. Yeah, if you're old and dusty like D, right. and like me as well, then in that case, then go ahead and just give us an old and dusty, hashtag old and dusty in the comment section right now. So if you're new, hashtag new. If you're old and dusty, give us an old and dusty. So I'm going to hop into the chat here really quick, just give a couple of hellos. Vigard, what is going on, man? Nice to see you. Midnight Madness 4x4. What is going on? Octorius, right. Nice to see you in here, as well as you, Science Gal Aquatics. Nice to see you. And of course, Andrew Can, thank you so much for moderating the chat as always. You are appreciated, my man. Costume CO in the house with a hashtag old and dusty. That's what I like to see. It is a lot of old and dusty. That's what I'm talking about. Wow. So the very first tip on the list, and a lot of this applies to brand new YouTubers. It also applies to people that have been around for a while, right? Because, you know, a lot of this stuff, it's important to keep refreshing these things in your brain. I mean, you know, I've been on YouTube now for 4 years, well, approaching 4 years. And during that time, you know, even now there's stuff that I have to keep revisiting just to remind myself of the importance of certain things that I need to make sure that I'm doing. Because, you know, as you get busy and as you get into those habits of creating content all the time, it's really easy to just lose track and kind of lose focus a little bit. So hopefully something in this list is also going to help you with that as well if you've been on YouTube for a while.
And I get to see the list right here.
Yeah, and he can see the list right away. Spoilers, no spoilers. Yeah, no spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Yeah,
so the very first tip on this list is that it's very important that you have a niche. And what I mean by that is that you narrow down on a specific topic. Like as an example, on D, what is your channel about?
Mobile.
Yeah, so his channel is about helping people learn how to master their mobile. So he's teaching people stuff specific to mobile devices. On my channel, I help people grow their channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube-related stuff. So my channel, my niche.
That's like a full net, though.
It is.
I was just going for like a little.
A little piece.
One word, mobile.
Right. But the idea is basically focusing on one topic, and the reason that's so important is because when you focus on one topic, you're also focusing on one core audience. And when you focus on one core audience, the reason that can be extremely helpful for you is because it can help you make sure that every piece of content that you're putting out is for that group of people. It can also help make sure or ensure that the people that are subscribing to your channel, the people that are involved in your community, that every piece of content that you put out, or almost every piece of content that you put out, it's something that they can enjoy as well. Because as an example, let's say that on my channel, because I do the YouTube tips, right? If I started putting out all of a sudden, if I was like, hey, I'm going to show people how to crochet.
Right, you're an awesome person
crocheter.
To do that, by the way.
Yeah, I'm an expert crocheter, or something you may or may not know.
Right there.
Yeah, but if I started putting out crochet videos, the first one would probably be awesome. People would watch that one like crazy because it would be something like, whoa, what's going on? Is this a joke? What's going on?
Probably be waiting for you to like somehow spin that into something about you.
Right. And then after that first video though, people aren't subscribing to my channel because they want to learn how to crochet. So because of that, making sure that I'm laser focused on making content that is for a specific niche is where I win on my channel. And the same exact thing applies to you. It doesn't matter what type of content that you are, in or that you are making, as long as you keep it under the umbrella, so to speak. Hold on, it sounds like D's mic is off.
Mic is off.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming through there.
We've got a signal here.
Yeah. Maybe I just have you turned down. There we go.
Okay. How about that?
Oh, you know what? I'm going through the cloud lifter. You're not. So that's probably what's happening.
Okay, yeah. Turn me up.
Yeah. So let us know if that mic is better.
Yep. D, turn the mic up, bro.
Yeah, I just got him cranked up there.
Better?
All right.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, like whatever type of content that you're making, it's really important that you just keep putting out content that serves that particular audience, because here's where it really comes into play. Let's say that you put out a piece of content today and that content is a perfect fit for your audience. You've actually grown your whole channel around a specific type of content. And when you start putting out content that isn't directly related, or let's say that your channel, you have this idea like a lot of new creators have, like, hey, I'm just going to put out a bunch of stuff and I'm going to see what takes off. Well, what happens is there's nothing really exact that your channel's about. And because of that, when somebody goes and they watches one particular video, like this one-off video, when they land on your channel page, there may or may not be other things of interest to that viewer. So it's really important to make sure that when they land on your channel page, that everything on your channel page is of interest to that viewer. And when you start doing that, you start focusing on serving a niche audience with a specific type of content that group is interested in,
niche,
then what's going to happen is you're going to see your view to subscribe ratio go up, and you're going to see your channel start to become something because you are focused on that, and you start becoming a resource for that particular audience.
You know, I've unsubscribed to people who I subscribed for one particular reason, and then, like, you know, 20, 30 videos in, they take a left turn and start talking about something else.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah,
I'm out
likewise.
of there.
Likewise.
Yeah, out of there.
And another thing too, like, and let us know in the comments, like if you are Manly Man TV, what's up, man?
Hey.
Like if you are putting out, or if you're subscribed to a channel and they start putting out content that isn't what you subscribe for, do you unsubscribe? Do you hashtag subscribe or hashtag unsubscribe if that's something that you are, you know, that turns you off, so to speak? Are you like, hey, this is great, I'm just going to stay subscribed? Or do you unsubscribe because it's not something that's a perfect fit for what it is that you are actually interested in, that you actually subscribe to that channel for? That same thing applies to us as creators on the other side of that scenario.
Yeah, I'll usually give them like one or two videos, and like, okay, we're going to see where this is going. And then if it's like they continue, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Likewise.
I don't want to watch you crochet.
Right.
I just don't want to watch. As awesome as you are, I don't want to watch
and
don't want to watch it.
And the same exact thing applies also. Like, let's say that you go and you are and you watch a video on a page, right? And you're like, you know, hey, this is a really good video. And then you go to the channel page and it's just a big cluster of stuff. You know, in most cases, people don't subscribe to that either because it's a big cluster of stuff, and you're not tapping into an interest point or even a pain point if you're making how-to content, but you're not tapping into that for a specific audience.
I like to think of it like shopping. Imagine if you walked into a store. Like right now, you know, all the kitchen items are here. You know, the bedding is here. You know, the toys are over here. But imagine if you walk through the store and everything is just spread out everywhere. Some toys are over here, some toys are over there, mixed in with some blankets, mixed in with some food. You probably wouldn't go back to that store.
Same thing if you were to go to a sporting goods store, because
Right.
you're like, hey, I'm going to a sporting goods
I wanna
store
go
to
to
get sporting
baseball.
goods,
Right,
and then
baseball.
you walk in and it's like a clothing store instead, or like a camera store. You're gonna walk in and be like, well, wait a minute, I'm here for sports stuff. I'm not
Right.
here for camera stuff.
Right.
So the second thing on this list is it's also in niche versus niche, by the way. I guess it just depends on, you know, where you grew up in the world. But for us, it's niche all day long. And I'm proud to stand behind niche. You?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to stand behind niche as well.
Yeah.
Because I like the saying, there's riches in niches.
There we go. Boom.
Yeah.
Branding is super important is the second one. Now, a lot of people when they're creating YouTube channels, they don't think about the importance of branding. They might not even know what branding is. You know, a lot of people when they're starting a YouTube channel, like if you haven't been in any professional capacity or if you haven't been exposed to material about branding, then you might not know how critical branding is in terms of making your content recognizable, making your content comfortable to viewers and things like that. Because here's the thing. When you can create an actual brand around what it is that you're doing, like as an example, a lot of people will think that creating a brand is just about what your channel art looks like and what your thumbnails look like, but that's not the case at all. Creating a brand is about what your channel art looks like, the fonts that you use, the colors you use, and how that applies to all of the artwork on your channel. That's your thumbnails, your channel art, your in-video graphics, and things like that. But it goes deeper. Your brand is also what you stand for. Your brand is the you know, like which side of the fence are you on? You know, are you somebody that is, you know, over here with this crowd, or are you somebody that's over here with this crowd?
That
is part of your
user
branding.
or an Android user.
Right. And that whole thing, you know, like when you build that brand around your, you know, around your channel, it also helps that same audience that you're trying to tap into, like they know they're home, so to speak. When they see your content, they're like, oh yeah, this is for me. This is made in a way that it speaks to me. If they think of this consciously or not, you know, this is made in a way that it speaks to me. I completely relate to this, and I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to become part of this community, right? So it's really important to make sure that you study and that you look into branding if you don't know anything about it, and you look into the different aspects of branding. What were you going to say?
I mean, look at Apple.
Yeah.
Right? And people, their brand is so powerful. that people will buy literally every single thing they put out.
Yes.
Because they believe in the brand.
Yeah.
They believe that they connect to that brand in some way.
Yeah. Even if they got to pay more for it.
Even if they have to pay more for it.
Yeah. Yeah, branding is super important, and it, you know,
even if it's a limiting, even if it crashes, even if no, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, and you know, it also comes down to, you know, to the language that you're using and the tone that you have in your content and things like that. Like it's an entire package. One book that I recommend that you read is Primal Branding. You know, it's something that a lot of content creators refer to in terms of, you know, the deeper side of creating a brand, not just a visual brand, but creating like a deeper brand for the content that you're creating and what's going on around your YouTube channel. Anything you want to add on that one, D?
No, I was going to say in terms of YouTubers, brands, in terms of what they've built, Brian G. Johnson.
Yeah.
Right? Like anytime I see Brian G. Johnson, I think, you know, like he's kind of like he's full of information, a little bit zany. He's always doing something about poodles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like his brand, like that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because of it, like it's like Beanie Draws.
Yeah.
Every time I see a dinosaur, I
think of Beanie.
I think Beanie Draws.
Right.
I see a poodle, I think Brian G. Johnson.
Right.
You know, that's just part of the brand.
It is. It is. I mean, that's the realities of it, though. Is, you know, like when you're creating that stuff, right? Like part of my thing is like start right now, and part of that is because, you know, like if you're watching like a news show or you're seeing something else or you hear somebody say start right now, I want you to think of me, right? If you see like a news program and they're like, you know, hey, and we're starting right now, I want you to think of me and think of, oh, Nick says that. I don't want you to think, oh, that's just news people saying whatever. I want you to think, oh, that's what Nick says too. Right, so it's helping to make those connections.
You want them to think they're copying Nick.
right. News all over the world.
Right.
Did
Wolf Blitzer just copy Nick Nimmin?
That's right. Next up on the list is that patience is critical, and I know people do not want to hear this, but really quick, speaking of patience and all of that, if you have not yet, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up or this live stream a thumbs up if you're enjoying it so far, and also if you know a YouTube content creator that would enjoy this content, go ahead and share this with them right now, or send it out on Twitter or a Facebook group or whatever it is that you happen to be a part of. Go ahead and share this video right now. Now, that number 3 is that patience is critical. And like I said, you know, a lot of content creators don't want to hear this, but the fact is, you know, 99% of the time, unless you're an anomaly, it's going to take time to grow. It's going to take time to learn how to do all this stuff. It's going to take time to learn how to make the content. It's going to take time to learn how to make effective thumbnails. It's going to take time just to get your editing process together and get your speed, you know, up to par, so to speak. It's going to take time to get your overall workflow together. And part of all of that stuff is what helps propel you in terms of, you know, your videos doing well and things like that. So in terms of the learning curve, you need to be patient because, you know, coming in, most people don't know all the aspects.
There's a lot to learn.
Tons.
And I think people underestimate how much there is. They
yeah.
think, oh, I can edit.
Yeah.
Right. I can do some basic editing. You actually need to become a better editor.
Yeah.
You need to be better. You need to be better at framing it. You need to be better at lighting. You need to be better at all of it.
Yeah.
It's not just enough to do it. You need to be good at it.
Yeah. And if it's something that you're into, like if YouTube is your hobby or something that you want to make, you know, like into something greater, like an opportunity generator or something you want to make a career out of, it's really important to make sure that you're learning the craft, right? Learning all aspects, learning the art of being a YouTuber. But
I like that.
But
the art of being a YouTuber.
Yeah, it's true, you know, because there's so many different aspects.
Right.
And on the other side of it, there's also, in addition to actually making the content, there's also the other side of it of, okay, well, how many videos do I need to have in my backlog to really kick this thing in? How many videos do I need to refer to other videos in order to start feeding myself enough watch time that YouTube, the algorithm, is going to say, oh, wow, the people are really responding to this stuff. When they watch one video, they watch another video, or they watch 2 more videos. Like, you know, how much of that do you have to create in order to really start getting that momentum growing on your channel? That takes time. And if you put out 3 videos or 10 videos, you know, that's less likely to happen. But if you put out a bunch of videos and you're constantly referring to more and more of your content and things like that, then you're more likely to get that engine working for you in your favor.
There's a lot of strategy involved.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just, you know, recording the video and just throwing it up on YouTube and then move on to
and
the
going
next
like
video.
This.
Crossing your fingers.
I hope this is it.
Right. I hope this is the one that goes viral.
Right. Unless you're making that type of content. If you're making that type of content, then of course. But for the rest of us that are in the trenches making content,
slugging it out video after video.
Right. Then you know, in that case, you know, it's going to be a longer process for you. Yeah. Number 4 on this list is and I know people don't like to hear this one either, but it is super, super important, is you have to learn to make good thumbnails. Now, listen, good thumbnails doesn't mean it has to be a piece of art. What it means is that it just has to be effective, right? So you have to learn how to make thumbnails that are going to generate clicks, because, you know, like in our live stream that we do every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on Nimmin Live, bing. But in that live stream, you know, part of that is, just a heads up also, let me transition this, boom. Just a heads up, if you have any questions that you want answered when we get to the Q&A portion of this, make sure that you go ahead and leave them in the form that is down in the description below right now, so we can make sure to get those answered for you. There we go. Right. But yeah, with making good thumbnails, it's critical, because one way to think of it is your thumbnails are they're the key point. Like when somebody first lands on any page on YouTube,
advertisement for your video.
They are. Yeah, and when somebody first lands on your YouTube channel, or not your YouTube channel, when they first land on YouTube, and they have all of these different thumbnails that they're looking at, all these different titles that they're looking at, if yours isn't grabbing attention and yours isn't something that entices people to click, then you're going to lose the click. And if you lose the click, then that means that you're going to lose ultimately, because people are not clicking on your thumbnails, which means they're not coming and watching your video, which means that you're not getting any watch time from them, which means they're definitely not becoming a part of your community, which means they're not coming back and watching more videos, clicking on notifications and things like that. So it is your very first point of contact. Your thumbnail and your titles is your very first point of contact with a new viewer. So it is absolutely critical that you make your thumbnails. And if you don't know how, it's critical that you learn how to make thumbnails. Go through, I mean, you're on YouTube right now, right? Go and start watching some graphic design tutorials when the stream is over. Go and start learning, you know, different design concepts and things like that. Watch tutorials.
Learn about color.
Yeah, learn about color and framing, and learn how to use the different tools required to make thumbnails, right? Like if you seriously want to turn this into something, you know, it's part of the job, so to speak, right? Is learning how to use the right tools in order to make all of this stuff work to the most benefit for you.
2 weeks ago, you touched on this on Nimmin Live, but for those of you who weren't there, one of the things that I do, and you do something similar, is if I know the phrase I'm going to use for my title, I'll type it in and I'll see all the results, and I'll do a screenshot of the page, and then I'll load that up into Photoshop, and I'll build my thumb around it, so I can try to build a thumbnail that stands out from all the other ones that are showing up. And of course, those are always changing.
Sure.
But out of the gate, that's what I want.
Yeah,
my thumbnail
that gives you a better chance than not.
Right.
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 Yeah. So, by taking an extra few minutes to put that together, to go through that process, you're basically creating that additional advantage to where you might not have had it if you wouldn't have been paying attention enough.
Every single thing you can do to get an edge.
Yeah.
Be it, you know, closed captions or whatever. It all adds up.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah, and Flern, Dr. Sten just mentioned here in the chat that Flern is a fantastic YouTube channel for learning Photoshop, and I totally agree with that. They are awesome over there. So definitely go and check out Flern. The next thing on the list here is that once you learn how to make your thumbnails, people are going to click on your thumbnail, and then they're going to go and they're going to watch your video.
I want to just say one more thing.
Okay,
I would spend as much time on your thumbnail as you do recording the video.
Yeah.
And because it's that important to get that click.
It is longer, you know, like until you learn how to make them to where they grab the attention. Spend time on them. Make your thumbnails count, because that's your first point of contact. If your thumbnails suck, your people aren't going to be watching your content.
Right.
And then you're going to be going, oh my gosh, why can't I get views? It's because your thumbnails suck, right? And because your titles suck and people aren't clicking on them. So when you can overcome that, you overcome that by learning how to make thumbnails, learning how to make titles. And then from there, then you can start working on what we're going to talk about here for number 5, which is audience retention. Now, with audience retention, when somebody clicks on your thumbnail, they land on your video, right? As soon as they land on your video, they're starting to judge what they're experiencing. They're starting to say, is this for me? Is this not for me? This looks good. This looks bad. This sounds good. This sounds bad. This person's old and dusty.
I'm out of here.
Right? Yeah. This person's old and dusty. Totally not my demographic. I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm going to go find like another 12-year-old to learn from instead of somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
So it's like
no offense to you 12-year-olds.
Yeah, no offense. I've learned a lot from 12-year-olds. You know, hey guys, this is how you do this.
There's a lot of really good video editors and kids that are doing Photoshop tutorials, And it's funny because they all start the same way. They never show their face.
Yeah.
It's just like a screen, and you hear, "Oh, okay, guys, today I'm going to show you how to do the most amazing thing."
Right. And then by the time you're done with it, it's like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
Thumbs up, kid.
Yeah, right. Thumbs up, subscribed. But focusing on your audience retention, right? Like when they land on your video and they're making all of those decisions, they're making all of those judgments on if they're going to stay there or not. It's really important that you go into your audience retention reports inside of your Creator Studio and you start paying really close attention to how people are responding to different aspects of what it is that you're doing in your videos. Because what you're going to notice over time is you're going to notice, hey, if I use an intro for this long, people start leaving. If I use an intro for this long, people seem to stick around. If I say these particular things at the beginning, people stay. If I don't say these particular things at the beginning, people leave, or the other way around. You know, in some cases, if you have just a killer intro, it can actually hold retention and then people stick around for the next part. But if your intro is just kind of blah, then in that case, then in a lot of cases, you'll see big drops in audience retention over the course of an intro.
If you watch my videos from my very first video up till now, I've completely changed how I do the beginning, just because it gains me just a little more watch time.
Yeah.
Right. I just shaved off some words, but I personally liked how I used to say it. But it doesn't matter what I like.
It doesn't matter what you like.
The audience told me otherwise.
Right.
Right. The data told me otherwise. So yeah, I changed on how I presented the video in the very beginning, and my watch time came up a little bit because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a minute matters.
It
30
does.
seconds matters when it's scaled.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like when you look at your audience retention reports, and it's like, oh well, you know, if I'm just you know, if I make a little change and it brings me up like 2%, it's not a big deal. That's a humongous deal if you scale that over the course of your video library. If you scale that over the course of just a handful of videos over a bunch of views, then that can add up to tons and tons and tons of watch time. So, you know, every little detail that you can improve inside of the actual video content itself that keeps people watching for longer, that stuff is super important to focus on so that you can pull people through your content. Because if somebody clicks on your thumbnail, they land in your video and they bounce, then in that particular case, then that video is going to die also, just like if you weren't making effective thumbnails. But if they click on your thumbnail and title and they land on your video and they end up watching that video for longer than the other thumbnails that people had the option to click on or that they had clicked on, then in that case, then you're going to win, and then YouTube is going to start sending more traffic to that video because that video is a proven performer, at least for that period in time. It's a proven performer on the platform. So that's how you get YouTube to promote your content to other people, is by getting them to click on your thumbnail and then getting them to watch a considerable amount of your video.
And another thing in terms of audience retention is don't think that anything that you're doing could be attracting them or turning them off. You really need to test stuff.
You have to test.
I changed my intro and how I said it. I gained a little bit more watch time. And my last several videos, I actually stopped playing music. And believe it or not, it actually increased my watch time.
Nice.
About 4 to 5% per video.
Nice.
Just turning off music. But I love music.
Yeah.
And you see so many videos with music.
Yeah.
But with my old and dusty face, or maybe it was my music selection.
Yeah.
Maybe people hate my music.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, picking that for your audience is also important in terms of, like building that in as part of your brand, the actual type of music you use. If you do use music, if you don't use music, that falls back on that number 2 about, building all of that stuff into your brand as well.
So I want to use music. So like I'll either try different styles of music, or they just might not like it with me.
Yeah.
Maybe,
or maybe they don't like you.
Maybe they don't like me.
Yeah. Or maybe they like you so much that they're like, hey, I'm going to leave just because I just can't even I can't even take watching this guy because it's just like, I just want to just comment on everything he's got.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Most likely that, I think.
I had good music.
Yeah. Danielle from Cutting the Caboose in the house. What is going on?
Danielle.
Eileen Smith, what is going on? Nice to see you. Dr. Stan Eckberg, nice to see you as well.
Yeah, see, Eileen says I don't like music in the background.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've experimented with that on a handful of videos recently myself. I haven't went back yet to see in terms of the data, but I would say out of my last 5 videos, I think 3 of them I didn't add music for the same reason. Yeah, just to see. Number 6 on this list is don't leave out SEO. If you are not familiar with what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. And basically what that means is you're basically optimizing your videos so that when people are looking for stuff around the internet, your video is more likely to show up. Because if you are not optimizing your video for search, then what's going to happen is when people are looking for stuff, your video is not going to come up, right? Now, a lot of people think of SEO in terms of, well, this only matters in terms of ranking your videos for search, which it does matter for ranking your videos for search, but it also, when you're optimizing your videos properly, it can also help you get suggested to other videos, and it helps YouTube know what your video is about so that the algorithm can put you wherever it feels that it needs to put you in front of whatever audience consumes the type of content that you've optimized that particular video for. Make sense?
Makes total sense.
Okay.
I'm over here taking notes.
All right. Not really. Next up on the list is use tools to cut your learning curve. Of course,
like hammers and
stuff like
saws.
hammers, bandsaws, wrenches. I think they're called
wire cutters.
Wire cutters are great.
Yeah, tools.
But yeah, use tools to cut your learning curve. You know, TubeBuddy, for example. You know, I'm sure everybody in this chat is using TubeBuddy. If not, you can install it right now at TubeBuddy.com/install. It's a game changer for your YouTube channel. But using tools like TubeBuddy, like Keywords Everywhere, for example, to where you basically give yourself that edge in terms of, you know, hey, before I didn't have all of this additional data, before I didn't have these additional ideas in terms of my tags that TubeBuddy's given me, before I wasn't able to research these particular topics as good because I wasn't using TubeBuddy or I wasn't using any of these other tools that allow me to research this stuff so that I can get the best performance out of my video based on the proof that they have of how the system works. So because of that, it is critical that you make sure that you are using the proper tools, because, you know, an analogy that I like to give is if you're building a house, you know, there's a bunch of tools that you have to that you got to use.
That's my analogy,
right? if you're building a house, there's a bunch of tools that you have to have, and when it comes to you know, YouTube is like the house that you're building, right? So having all of the proper tools in order to make sure that you're building, you know, a solid foundation and that you have a nice strong house sitting on that foundation is just as awesome as it is, and just as important as it is as if you were building a real house in the real world. In the real world. Next up on the list, number 8, is network with other creators. D, how effective is this?
Okay, so I cannot preach this enough. Networking with other creators, I mean, I've gotten such a boost from various people retweeting me that I've met at VidCon, people giving me a push, people doing collabs with me, people helping me out. But it all came from, like, you know, communicating with them in face-to-face and through Twitter and through email and stuff like that. I can't recommend it enough. Yeah, because it's not what you know; it's also who you know.
Right. Yeah, like networking with other creators is critical,
Yes.
and the reason for this is because, one, if you collaborate with other content creators, not only are you building relationships with those creators to where, you know, like as your channel grows, as their channel grows, you have like other allies in the space, so to speak. Not only are you doing that, but you're also creating additional traffic sources on all these different channels if you end up doing actual collaborations with these people. But even more importantly than that, you know, it's people that when you go to events and things like that, that you can talk to face to face, that you can actually get excited to meet, right? Like as an example, you know, Video Marketing World next month, you know, I'm excited to go there and meet and hang out with a bunch of people that I talk to online all the time, a bunch of other creators. Same thing with Vid Summit that's coming up in October in LA. You know, same thing there is I'm excited, you know, Andrew, the TubeBuddy crew, you know, like everybody's going to be there. D's going to be there. So, you know, like networking with other creators gives you that excitement. Like, hey, I'm going to go to this event and I'm not going to be just some like random person walking around. I'm going to be somebody that, you know, is meeting people and hanging out with other people that I've been talking to for a while on the internet. So you have friends when you show up to these events, but basically having people to go to bat with you, so to speak, having people to bounce ideas off of.
And well, because I'm new to YouTube, right? And
really,
yeah, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, yeah. So like being able to sit in and kind of being a fly on the wall and listening to how other YouTubers more successful are actually doing things, little tips and tricks that they share with each other. I mean, that alone for me was like worth the flight. Yeah. From Thailand to Los Angeles. It was worth it to me, picking up on those little nuggets of information that you don't see in live streams or you don't get, you know, on a blog somewhere or even in their videos. Yeah. Just in conversation, stuff that people just forget to put in their videos.
Yeah, or stuff that you just don't think about, like, people probably know this or like whatever, and then it just comes out and it's like floors you. Right. Like, oh wow, no, people actually don't know that.
Or when you get like multiple creators together and they start brainstorming together, that is magical.
Until it's closing time.
Until it's closing time, Andrew. Never going to forget that. Just kidding. Just kidding. And one more thing, too. When you build those relationships with people, they might be able to pass on contacts to you. Yeah. So they might, a brand might contact them and say, hey, are you interested? And they say, no, but I can't do it, but I know somebody who you might be interested in. Right. And they hand stuff off to you.
Right. That actually happened last night. I had it actually started the night before to where I had somebody hit me up on Facebook and they're like, hey, you know, we're looking for consulting at like an agency level, and I'm like, hey, I'm not doing that anymore. So I was able to pass that off to somebody else that I know in the space because of that relationship that was previously built. Right. So as long as that ends up going through for them, then that'll be, you know, something that's a very lucrative deal for them because, you know, they network in the space, I network in the space, and that relationship was created, and I know that they'll be able to handle the person because I sent them there.
YouTube isn't one of those things where like you want to circle the wagons and protect everything.
Right.
It's just the opposite. I'm learning that like you want to show them your cards.
Yeah.
You want to share as much as you can with other creators because it's definitely going to help you out.
Yeah, it is. And another thing with that too is, you know, another part of sharing is when you have other people that you can hit up, because, you know, like a lot of people, you know, especially if you're new, you know, you have this like, what's normal, what's not normal? Am I doing good? Am I not doing good? Is this right? Is this wrong? Like, what's going on? When you have other, when you have other people that you can get in touch with that are like, hey, this is what's happening on my channel right now. I just had this video and I'm getting like this type of thing, or my retention looks like this. What does yours look like? You know, what, and you start to, you know, get that relationship going back and forth where you're even sharing data, then, you know, that can also be very insightful. It can help you or help the other person in terms of knowing that you need to do better or that you need to make changes in what it is that you're doing in order to get the best results here.
I also want to add to that if you're a brand new channel, don't worry about what your subscriber count is when you're hanging out with other people, because the entire time we were hanging out in VidCon, not one single person, not one ever said, how many subscribers do you have?
Right.
I never heard that in our conversation with other people. Yeah. I never heard it with other, you know, if I'm, you know, being a fly on the wall and listening to what's going on in another group. Nobody ever asked anybody, how many subscribers do you have? Yeah. Everybody's just being cool. Yeah. And sharing information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it kind of goes down like this. It's kind of like, hey, you know, hey, I'm Nick.
Don't be weird. Be cool.
Yeah, be cool. Don't be a weirdo. Yeah. But it's like, you know, like, hey, I'm Nick, and then, you know, you just start talking. But it's not like, hey, I'm Nick, I have this many subscribers. It's just like, you know, hey, I'm Nick. Right. Right. Like just like any other thing. I mean, it's people are in this space are so cool, and if you're a new content creator, like once you get to tap into that, it's absolutely amazing in every single aspect, and I hope that you get to tap into it. And on that hope side of things,
Andrew said he had the opposite experience.
Oh, he kept getting asked.
Really? I'd never heard anybody.
I've never heard anybody either. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, number 9 on this list is it's also important that you dedicate to the grind. And what I mean by that is it's important that you dedicate and say, okay, if this is something that you're trying to do in any capacity at a serious level, to where you're like, you know what, I either want to turn this into an opportunity generator, I want to get my message out there, I want to turn this into possibly like an income source, I want to use this to, you know, change the minds of people, whatever your mission is or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish from YouTube, you have to dedicate to it, because, you know, there's going to be times you're going to have tech problems. I'm
going to say not only do you have to dedicate to it, but you have to fall in love with the process.
Yes. Oh, beautiful.
If you don't enjoy the process, and the process can be painful sometimes, but you have to fall in love with that process. And if you can't do that, you are not going to make it. I will bet money on that.
Yeah.
Because it can be exhausting and frustrating, especially if you're not getting the views and stuff like that coming in. So you're going to have to love the process.
Absolutely. And I also want to say that if you are not a TubeBuddy user at this point in time, and you're interested in TubeBuddy, you just want to know what it is, what it can do for you, Andrew Can just dropped a link here in the chat, a free trial. So definitely go ahead and click on that link so that you can give TubeBuddy a spin and see what TubeBuddy can do for you. And I just dropped it in the chat there as well myself.
Give it a spin. How about download it?
But yeah, that works too.
How about take it out for a walk?
A little bit of walking around tool. But
how about go build a house with it?
But dedicating to what it is that you're doing in any capacity, it doesn't matter what you're doing, dedicating to it is extremely important. Like if you are going to expect results out of it, then it's important that you expect to dedicate to it yourself as well, because if you're not dedicating to it, you can't expect to just get lucky and things work out. Like you have to dedicate to it. You have to learn as much as you can about what it is that's going on here and make sure that you're uploading on a consistent basis and all that. And if you don't, then it's not going to work out for you long term. And the 10th thing, speaking of educating yourself, the 10th thing on this list is to actually educate yourself. Because look, like I was saying before, you know, it's like how we were talking about patience and the learning curve and all that stuff. there's so many different aspects. There's creating the art, there's editing the videos, there's coloring the videos, there's getting your audio right, there's how you present, there's how you interact with your community, there's all of these different aspects, getting your branding together, all of that.
Learning how to understand your analytics.
Yeah, learning how to understand your analytics, learning how to understand the different pieces of equipment that you have and all that stuff. Educating yourself is critical. You have to educate yourself in order to make sure that you're using the right tools, to make sure that you're doing things properly, and to give yourself the best chance. Because, you know, like if you're just gonna wing it and throw stuff out there, then it may or may not work out for you, most likely not. But if you're like, hey, I'm gonna dedicate to it, I'm gonna put some thought behind this, I'm gonna spend the next, you know, 6 months or year sitting here educating myself, learning how this stuff works. I'm gonna go through the YouTube Creator Academy, which is free. You should definitely go through it if you're a content creator. But you're like, hey, I'm gonna go through the YouTube Creator Academy, I'm gonna take all of the information I can learn, I'm gonna watch all the videos on the TubeBuddy channel, I'm gonna watch all the videos on Dee's channel, I'm gonna watch all the videos on Nick's channel, I'm gonna watch Daryl, I'm gonna watch Tim Schmoyer, I'm gonna watch video creators, Brian G. Johnson, Roberto, all these people, right? To where it's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna watch all these people so that I can know as much as I possibly can, so I can learn how all of this stuff works, and then I take what they say, I apply it to the data that I have and the things that I'm doing, and that way you're gonna get the most out of it.
Everything that you've done in your life, you've done it through learning.
Yes.
Be it language, you learned how to drive, you learned whatever you went to school for, you learned, did I already mention language?
That's okay. Mention it again.
You learn language.
Yeah.
Maybe a second language. So yeah, YouTube is no different. You can't just throw a bunch of stuff up there and just hope that it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it might, but maybe like 1% chance. It's like winning the lottery, really.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into the Q&A portion. So I do want to say again, if you have not yet, we're at 27 questions right now, so we'll see how many we can get through. But if you haven't yet, go ahead and put your question in the form that is down below as we start to get into these here. So the very first question is from the Endeavoring family to say, if you could meet any YouTuber that you've yet to meet next year at VidCon, who would it be? D, go.
Peter McKinnon, hands down.
Likewise. And I'm actually going to meet Peter at Vid Summit this year.
I would like to have a coffee with Peter McKinnon.
Oh, look at that. That's almost like a religious experience.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see here. Next up on the list, from the Toxic 3, does view and subscriber count be affected if your game consists of 2 different types of content? It can. And what I was talking about before in terms of niching down, that's where that becomes so critical, because like if you're doing a specific, if you're doing gaming content and you have the umbrella, so to speak, of, hey, I'm just playing all these different games, then of course you're going to attract the gamers that are into those specific games. But if you can say, I play this game or I play these 2 games, then you're going to focus in on people that are only interested in that game or those 2 games, which means every piece of content that you put out is going to be something of interest to the people that are subscribing to your channel. So because of that, when you publish a video, you're going to get more people coming in to watch the video faster because it's something that they're interested in, and that's going to help YouTube know that people are interested. As long as you're keeping them watching, it's going to help YouTube know that people are interested in that content because of how they're responding to it, and then YouTube is going to start pushing that out a little bit as well to see how more people that are not subscribed to you yet will also respond to that same content.
If I had a gaming channel, and let's say I played Fortnite, I would play that would be every video would be Fortnite, but I just wouldn't play it. Like I would play it, but I would also find like a niche within a niche in Fortnite. Yeah. I would talk about like character development. I would do walkthroughs. I would do every possible niche that I could find inside of Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how you stand out.
Right.
You know, because a lot of gamers, they'll just play the game, and everybody's playing the game. Like there's nothing special about just playing the game.
Right.
But if you start working on character development and you start like exploring like, you know, the different things that the characters do and just different parts of the map, you know, and just really narrow down on that stuff like that. Yeah, that's how you stand out.
Right. Find the interest within the game that people aren't talking about.
So Glitch, who is a brand new YouTuber,
all right.
Welcome to YouTube, Glitch. Welcome to TubeBuddy. High five, fist bump. I'm Nick Nimmin. This is D Nimmin. We can help you grow your channel as well. Says, I have started putting together my channel. No videos yet. I'm working on my channel trailer, and before I finish it, I needed to know. I'm creating a gaming channel that focuses on showing gameplay, gaming news, and reviews. Is that too broad of a subject? No, it's not, because you are focusing on gaming. It's not too broad because you're focusing on gaming, but here's the thing. If like I said before, everybody's playing games because it's the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest type of content to make. I'm just going to turn on my PlayStation. I'm playing the game anyway, so I might as well sit here and be obnoxious while I play and record it and then put it up on the internet, right? So Playing the game is something that's not going to make you stand out.
Right.
However, gaming news, absolutely.
Yes.
Reviewing games, also, that's a good one. That kind of falls hand in hand with the playing, depending on how you do it. But if you review the games in a creative way, then that would be how you would win there. But like the gaming news, yeah, absolutely, because that's coming at it at a different angle. I guarantee you there are a gazillion, and that's I've actually calculated this. Just kidding.
Put that into Google.
But I'm estimating that there's a gazillion more people doing gameplay than there are doing gaming news. So what you're doing right out of the gate when you focus on like gaming news and reviews is you are minimizing the amount of people you're competing against, and you're also minimizing your competition in terms of like ranking for search and getting connected to videos and things like that.
I was going to say with gaming news, you would probably have a lot of opportunity to ride trends, because let's say a new game is released or something, a company got bought or sold or whatever, like people are going to be looking for that information. And if you're doing news about it, you're going to be right there. You can probably ride a lot of trends on that.
Yeah, I mean, technically, like with games, like when it comes to Let's Plays, like you can like accidentally make a Let's Play channel.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's how like, easy Let's Plays is.
Right. Oops.
Yeah. Right. Oops. Oh. Oops. I accidentally uploaded this from my PlayStation onto my YouTube channel.
Right.
Bam. Now you've got a YouTube channel playing Let's Plays. Okay, YouTube channel. P.S. How to approach malicious reporting against our videos and bullying of our viewers from other creators. The first thing you want to do if your viewers are getting bullied from other creators is you want to ban them from your channel. If they come in with other accounts, which is probably the next thing that you're going to say, then you want to ban those accounts as well. In addition to that, if they are maliciously reporting you, if they're reporting your content, there's nothing really that you can do about it except for dispute it. You're just going to have to wear them out. And I know you don't want to hear that, but I would definitely contact creator support. They get messages like this all the time, but I would definitely contact creator support. Let them know that you're having issues and let them know what's going on. But in terms of like the day-to-day management that you're gonna have to do, if they're flagging your videos, you're still gonna have to dispute it. If they are coming in bullying your creators, you're still gonna have to be on top of it until they wear out. So you're just gonna have to be you're just gonna have to lean on longevity for this one and say, you know what, they can come in all they want to. They can come in, they can say bad things all they want to, but I'm going to make a video and I'm going to inform my community of what's going on. And every time I see them coming in from different accounts attacking my viewers, I'm gonna ban them from my channel also.
Nice.
Dr. Eckberg, what's going on, man? Nice to see your question in here. Says, what are your views on getting people in a group to share videos that is not part of your core group? Is there a concern with the wrong audience confusing the AI? Yes. Here's the thing. It's not necessarily just the confusing the AI because it's the wrong audience. It's also because the amount of people coming through are going to be so small. But the downside is, let's say that you were to publish a video today and you were to share it in this group, right? Like one of those like watch for watch groups, right? What's going to happen is if you go into one of those groups and you do the math on how much time people would actually have to spend watching videos in order to legitimately be watching everybody's videos that are in that group, it's a ton of time. So because of that, we all only have so much time in the day. So because of that, you're going to have a lot of people that are coming in and they're going to watch your video for, as long as it takes to scroll down and leave a comment on it so that you think they watched the video. And then they're going to bounce, right? You'll have some people that actually enjoy your content and they'll watch it, or they're actively wanting to support you and they'll watch it. But the majority of people, there's just not enough time, right? So because of that, you want to say, okay, well, the people that I'm sharing my video with, how many people am I expecting to watch this video, and how many people are expecting me to watch theirs? Mathematically, is that even like a reality, right? Like, can I even expect these people to come in and do that? But because like with this stuff, like when you start having all those people coming in and they're bouncing off of your video, then that's basically telling the AI that those people are not interested in your content. They come in, leave a comment, and they leave, but you're not getting the most important metric, which is watch time.
Kaboom.
Boom. Octorius says, why did you start YouTube? Do you think you were going to make it? Do you think I can make it as a YouTuber? I'll say yes, I think you can make it as a YouTuber, even though I don't know you or I don't know the content that you're making, because it's basically a learning process.
It's a Fortnite gamer,
so,
I believe.
Okay. So if you are willing to learn and you're willing to understand the data and take the time to understand the data, you're willing to be patient. You're also willing to make changes when necessary. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're making Fortnite content now and you start thinking, do I really want to make Fortnite content? Am I really bringing value to people with Fortnite content? Maybe you are, but you know, like if you're willing to say, maybe maybe I'm going to do something different around my Fortnite content to where it adds more value to people or something like that. Being willing to make those types of changes so that you can actually serve an audience, then absolutely, yes, I think you can make it. For me, I started YouTube as a experiment, as a solution to a problem that I was having. And in terms of if I thought I was going to make it, I honestly didn't know, because when I first started, I didn't know nothing about the platform. I'd watched a bunch of videos, just like the type of videos that I make now. I'd watched a bunch of videos just kind of getting the basics together. At the time, I don't even think they had the YouTube Creator Academy. If they did, I didn't know about it.
I don't even remember you saying anything about, like, I hope I get X amount of subscribers. Yeah. You were just like, yeah, I'm making some videos. I'm making videos.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was focused on at the time.
It wasn't even like, hey, I'm trying to get monetized or any of that. It was just like, I'm just making videos.
Right.
Just trying to help. You were doing like tutorials, right? Yeah. Just trying to help people.
Yeah, so in terms of like thinking I was gonna make it, I would say that I didn't like really think that in terms of making it. But one thing that I was doing is I was trying to get people into an email list with the first videos that I put out, just as kind of like an experiment to see if I could get people into the email list, and I did, and it worked. And then I went through like different avenues, so to speak, with my channel and another channel, and coming back to my channel and things like that. But overall, like when I first started, I didn't think about even making it or not making it. I just thought of like using this as a tool to possibly solve a problem that I was having.
What's going on, Creepy Dan? I just want to say, in terms of like, if you think you're going to make it or not, one, if you think you are, then you probably will. But number two, if you can find a way to provide value.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a tough one for gaming, unless it's just entertainment value. But the more value you can give people who are watching, you're going to greatly up your odds of succeeding.
Yeah. Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
And another thing too, in terms of like value, a channel that I work with, they have two different channels. They have one channel that's all helpful content. They have another channel that is like fun content. Some of it's helpful, but most of it's just more like fun vlog style, lifestyle things. And like right out of the gate, the helpful content is growing at a faster rate. People are responding to it better and all that stuff because it's serving a group of people. Whereas the other one, it's serving a group of people in terms of the entertainment, but it's so broad that there's no real consistency in terms of the actual audience itself. So yeah, it's really important to make sure that you're focusing on a specific type of content. Aston Regis, the flip side. What is up, man?
Hey.
Says, hey guys, is it considered fair use to use movie images in a thumbnail for a movie review? Most movie review channels do this and it's effective. If not, what is a good alternative? Thanks, guys. So here's the thing when it comes to fair use. Fair use is such a gray area. And in terms of the thumbnail itself, even though people do it, in terms of the thumbnail itself, the actual thumbnail is an ad for the video. So technically, that thumbnail isn't like a remix or anything like that to where that by itself would be fair use. I'm not a copyright lawyer, so this is just my thoughts on this. I would definitely consult a copyright lawyer for to nail the exact answer on this one, and they're going to tell you it's a gray area also. But in terms of the actual thumbnail itself, in the way that I think of fair use, no, that would not protect you. However, tons of people do it, and I also recommend that if you're doing like movie review content, that you also just think about the future. Right now it might be great, but all it's going to take, it doesn't even have to be copyright related. All it has to take is YouTube saying, okay, well now, we're going to take it to where it's not even a copyright issue. We're just going to make it a terms of service issue to where you just can't use other people's content anymore. And if you have other people's content in any way, shape, or form, be it an image, be it a video clip or an audio clip, you've got X amount of time in order to take it down, and then your whole entire channel is wiped out. Not saying that's going to happen, but in terms of thinking of how can I make this stuff so that I'm protected in the future, like that's a good way to do it, by trying not to use other people's content as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, and something else that happens too, like if you get a strike for, say you have a Disney thumbnail and you get a strike for that, YouTube, like you can't have that argument with YouTube directly that it's fair use. You have to go have it with the person who actually made the strike.
Right. And
that's where the argument comes in. And if you want to push it, yeah. If you can prove it in a court of law, go for it.
Right.
But
right.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Vex says, I've been on YouTube for over a year, and one of my videos got 25K views. Awesome. But barely any people stayed to watch my channel. Any tips to keep an audience? In order to give you like exact tips, I would need to know, what your channel is and all that stuff. But in a broad sense, if people are coming in, if 25,000 people watched your video, but nobody subscribed to your channel, that means that they may have been like entertained in some way, but maybe they went to your channel page to see what other content you're making and the rest of it wasn't a good fit for them. Maybe you're not niching down in your content. or just whatever it was that you're doing in those particular videos wasn't something that would actually encourage people to subscribe, because it wasn't something, maybe they might have laughed or something like that, but maybe the idea of subscribing, like, hey, this might be a resource for me, or this might help me in some way or something like that, maybe that wasn't there for them when those 25,000 people were watching the video. Maybe you didn't even tell them in the video itself to make sure they subscribe and things like that. But yeah, I would have to see specifically what that video was and what it is you're doing in your channel, and then I could nail it down for you. But in terms of just a broad stroke, so to speak, if they're not subscribing and you've got 25,000 people viewing and they're not subscribing to your channel, it's because they don't see value in what it is that you're doing. And because of that, if that's your case, then you need to work on figuring out how to provide value to the people that are watching your content.
I can't even imagine how many thousands of videos I've watched. I don't subscribe.
Oh, yeah, likewise.
Yeah, you just watch it and you're like, next one.
Right.
But maybe if they would have said, hey, think about subscribing or
right.
consider subscribing. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I would have at least checked out their channel to see if there's more stuff that I like.
Yeah. Yeah, that call to action is so important, and a lot of people dismiss it, and they think, oh, I'm not comfortable, or it's begging, or whatever if I ask people to subscribe. But at the end of the day, you know, like when people are watching YouTube, they're watching video after video after video after video, and that might not even be in their head. Like right. us as creators, we're thinking like, oh, okay, well, you know, how many subscribers do they have? How many views they have in this video? How are they presenting in the video? And we're analyzing all this stuff, and we understand the terminology. Subscribe means this and blah, blah, blah. But like for people that are not into the scene, so to speak, on the creator side, for them, you know, like you have to remind people to subscribe just to make sure that you remind them, because it might not be something that's in their head because they're so engrossed in your content.
I would also be interested in seeing what their audience retention is on that video.
Yeah,
just 25,000 views, they might have watched 30 seconds and bounced.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I'd have to see the actual stuff involved.
Right.
Matt Made says, what resources or tips do you recommend for learning how to create better titles and descriptions? What I would recommend is going through the YouTube Creator Academy. It's absolutely free. It's given by YouTube. They actually tell you how to write titles and descriptions so that they're the most effective. I would also watch any video you possibly can on writing titles and optimizing your videos for search and things like that. Because there's two different approaches to titles. There's like, hey, I'm going just all in for SEO. But then there's also, I'm going in for SEO, but I also want this to be something that's intriguing to people that would encourage them to actually click on it instead of it just being a solution. So I would definitely watch as many videos as you can on that process.
Brian G. Johnson.
Yeah, Brian G. Johnson.
Awesome
yeah, Brian G. Johnson has some awesome tutorials on that on his channel. He's actually a streamer on here, so you can find his link actually here on the TubeBuddy channel. But he has some really, really good videos about writing titles. Let's see here. Intrepid Dawn says, Nick, I'm about to start a second channel. The content is similar context, Star Wars, high five for Star Wars, fist bump for Star Wars, but is more of a theory and lore channel rather than my main gaming channel. How can I use my existing 4.5 thousand subscriber base to pump up the new channel? Is there a way to do this without turning off the main audience on the main channel by advertising both? Absolutely. On your current channel, as soon as you start putting content out on the new one, add a playlist to your actual channel page, because you can add playlists from other channels to your channel page. Definitely add that playlist to your channel page. Also add your additional channels so you can cross-reference both ways. Add your additional channels to your featured channels over in your sidebar, and also make sure that you're always adding your both channels to both descriptions as well, so you can constantly be sending traffic back and forth. In addition to that, I would also make a specific video that is, hey, I just launched a new channel. You know, I know you're here for Star Wars content, but I just launched a new channel that is about X, Y, and Z. And that video by itself is also going to act as a filter for the people that are going to see that video that may be interested in the other content as well. Let's see here. Andy B. Carlton says, do I need a YouTube channel for each of my blog? I have one blog up and running, but I'm about to launch 2 others in different niches. It depends on what you're trying to do, because if you research YouTube and using YouTube in terms of blogs, if you have a YouTube video on your blog page, you're going to get more on-page time on your blog page, which is going to help that blog page rank better in Google search, which is a win. So basically, when people are searching around for information, you're going to find them, if your video is optimized properly, they have a chance of finding you on YouTube, and they have a chance of finding your blog post, which is going to send traffic to your blog, and that can also help send traffic to your YouTube channel. So you're kind of creating a loop, so to speak. If your blogs are different niches, then yes, I would have a channel for each blog that you're doing. Keep in mind though, as your blogs get bigger, as your YouTube channels get bigger, the workload is also going to become bigger, and the more different ones that you have, the harder it's going to be to manage. Not saying that you can't, I'm just letting you know ahead of time it's going to be more difficult the more you're spreading yourself out. But in terms of one channel for all of your blog content, all the different blogs that you have, unless it's all the same niche, then I would definitely separate everyone and have each one as its own asset. And then that way you can constantly be sending traffic from one blog from your YouTube channel for each of the different channels that you have, and those will be sending traffic back into your YouTube channel as well. And since you're going that route, also make sure that you are adding an email list to your blog so that you can collect email addresses. And when you publish new videos, you can also put those into your email, and you can send out a blast to your blog readers to let them know that you also have a new video. And then they can come back and watch it on your blog page, which is going to help your blog and your YouTube channel because those views you're getting on your blog page are going to count. And if they wanted to just go directly through and watch it on your YouTube channel, then it helps you there. And then maybe you can catch them there and send them back over to your blog. All right. The Cashless Gamer. Bro, my thumbnails are good. My content is also, but I only have 265 subs. I'm growing so slowly. Why? Okay, so you're thinking that your content is good and you're thinking that your thumbnails are good, and they may be. I'm not saying they're not. They may be. But what you need to do, because like, I think my content is great. I love my content, right?
What?
But I make videos to where the audience retention isn't as good as I would like it to be, which tells me that that particular video, the audience didn't care much about that video, right? And I hate to see that, but it's a reality of the whole thing, right? Because that data that you have to work with is super important. So even though you might think that your thumbnails and your content is good, you need to look at your click-through rate and your thumbnails. You need to look at how much YouTube is suggesting you in that same graph. You also need to look at the audience retention on your videos to have that actual data to work with. Again, you might be doing fine. If you are doing fine, keep making content, because if you're getting good audience retention and you're getting a decent click-through rate and a decent suggestion amount on your thumbnails, then eventually that machine's going to kick in for you, right? Because you're doing all of the right things. So eventually it'll kick in. Just keep plugging away and be patient like we were talking about earlier. But if those numbers are low, if you're not keeping people watching the video, then in that case, then you have to make improvements, because if you're not making improvements, then you're going to continue to grow extremely slowly.
Yeah, you got to take your ego out of this.
Oh, definitely.
Look at
it's
the
tough.
data.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's so
and
tough.
Nothing hurts worse than doing what you think is your best,
Yeah.
and then the video just tanking.
Yeah.
But yeah, click-through ratio and watch time.
Yeah. Quote Minute says, how long does it take for new channels and their videos to show up in search? Did the whole TubeBuddy tag and description thing. Okay, so a video, if you have a brand new channel with a video that is optimized properly for search and you're targeting a term that is not very competitive, you can rank for search on day one with the first video within the first like hour, right? Within the first handful of minutes, depending on the term that you're trying to rank for. So it just depends on the competition that you're going against. People that have, like we were talking before about the click-through rate and the audience retention, all of that. People that are delivering on that in terms of people are clicking on these thumbnails at a high rate and they're getting a lot of watch time per impression on that thumbnail, those people are going to have those top spots. However, if you're going for something that's a lot less competitive, then you can definitely slide right in there for sure. But just don't expect a humongous amount of traffic to come through it. But what you can do is you can start seeding that content so that it kind of helps boost you up, so to speak.
And build your channel authority.
Yeah, because it basically helps you accumulate watch time. So as those views are coming in, you're accumulating that watch time and you're showing YouTube or the algorithm that people are responding to your content in a positive way. So I'm going to get off of here. We are going to get off of here because I have a podcast that I have to hop on here in 4 minutes. So I want to say thank you everybody so much for hanging out. I hope that your question was answered here, and I hope that you learned something here. Remember to give this a thumbs up if you have not already. I also want to say thank you so much. Screen needs more TubeBuddy logos. That's funny.
Yeah, we're a little bit short on the. We got a mug. We got
How's this?
Yeah.
Does that pass? Right.
Yeah. Anymore.
So thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate it. And again, if you have not used TubeBuddy yet, if you're new to TubeBuddy and what it can do for you, make sure that you go to TubeBuddy.com/install right now and get TubeBuddy. And Andrew even posted a link in here about a free trial, so you can go ahead and install TubeBuddy for free right now and see how TubeBuddy can benefit you and your YouTube channel. So thanks again so much for hanging out. Thank you for watching, D.
Thank you. Had fun. Learn something.
Absolutely. And yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/Nick Nimmin. Link in the description. You can find D at youtube.com/D Nimmin. So you can learn how to master your mobile there. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.